And the people that did the oppressing were also a small percentage. But here we paint with broad strokes. So if that's what we're going to do, let's fucking paint with broad strokes. Because if it's not right for one to do it, it's not right for anybody.
On the one hand, I understand some things about it. I understand that there's been a history of oppression. It's just like, but I don't understand. What I don't understand is attacking people who had nothing to do with it. I don't understand that. I never oppressed. Nobody at this table ever owned a slave. We never oppressed anyone.
And nobody that's alive today has ever been a slave.
And so I don't understand.
Well, not in this country.
I don't understand the anger towards people that are as removed from it as they are. Like, we're generations out from it too. We didn't have a say. We didn't have a. So
they're not as removed from it as we are, because for generations it's been fed to them
and stewed,
fed to them, and we weren't. I mean, we learned.
We heard about it, but it wasn't.
But yeah, their families have just.
Well, and also, because I want to be fair, even though this is not what the fuck we were supposed to be talking about at all.
It never is. We always just.
But I want to be fair that after the Civil War and the Emancipation Proclamation and Juneteenth, which we're glad that's a holiday now, just needs to be renamed to something a little better.
I'm not going to say what I think about the name.
You think it's a dumbass name? Well, it sounds like a teenager came up with it. It needs to be something that reflects what the fucking holiday is.
See, I think
I'm all in favor of Emancipation Day.
Right, because then you're saying what it is.
Exactly.
And it's putting the emphasis on righting of the wrong, which is what the significance of the day is.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it should have been a holiday a long time ago.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think the next step I hope that happens is we get the fuck rid of Columbus Day and we make that Indigenous Peoples Day.
Oh, I don't
that
care.
Needs to happen.
Whoa. I don't give two fucks what we call it. Don't get rid of it because I have that day off.
No. I'm saying
she said rename it.
Yeah, rename it.
Totally for that.
Like,
I don't know why.
Kibosh on old Columbus.
Yeah. I don't know why it was called Columbus Day anyway.
He didn't discover a fucking thing.
He landed in the Bahamas. He never made it to North America.
And he was lost.
Yeah, he was fucked up.
He was like basically, I'm gonna grab my ass and say I discovered it.
Here I am. It's mine.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know how you can discover a place
I meant to be here
that had whole ass cities.
Yeah.
The Bahamas. They were absolutely populated. There were people there.
No, you didn't discover it. You washed up on its shores.
You crash landed here, motherfucker,
and planted a flag.
That'd be like an alien tumbling out of the sky. I have discovered Earth. No, bitch, we've been here all along.
Yeah, we knew
it.
Yeah, the only difference is we'd shoot the alien.
Yeah.
You go over to someone's mansion. I have discovered this.
Yeah.
It is mine now.
Yeah, and
here's my flag.
That's kind of like the whole I identify as a wealthy man.
Yeah, transfinancial. But I do want to be fair about this. The black community did have a big problem with Jim Crow laws, and I
mean, there was a lot of awful.
No one's denying any awful things. I mean, I don't know.
So to say that we are far removed,
right?
I don't know that that's accurate. I think
I see what you're saying.
Because Jim Crow went on till like the 50s.
Yeah, that wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
So there are people alive that remember that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I totally get.
But at the same time, African Americans are not the only people that were enslaved,
absolutely not.
were oppressed, and guess what?
Oh no, on the West Coast, there were Chinese slaves and damn near no African slaves.
Not only that,
in New
natives.
York. Yeah.
Look at the 800 freaking graves we found.
Well,
in
715
they
were found
tended
this
to
week.
kill the natives instead of enslaving them.
Well, because
they but in New York, there were Irish slaves, there were Italian slaves, almost no black slaves. So
it's all.
So to say that, to say that black people. Were the numbers higher? Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it was all what was done to them.
I've heard the answers. We had it worse.
Do what?
That's what they say. And it doesn't matter about all these other people.
I won't deny that they had it real fucking bad.
They had it really shitty, but
they don't give a shit about everybody else.
But ain't nobody alive today that's ever been a slave.
Yeah,
in this country.
Right.
And I say that because
Oh, slavery still exists.
Oh yeah, there are
Just not
parts,
here, thank God.
There are parts in Africa where the slave trade started that have active slave trades right the fuck now, but
yeah.
nobody wants to say shit about that.
I mean,
and then of course there's the human trafficking and all that kind of stuff.
I would never, ever, because I've been a student of history my entire life, even when I was just barely old enough to sound out the fucking words. And so I've read and I know, and no, I would never deny how awful, just fucking inhumane the things that happened were.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for it. There just isn't. But the thing is, I don't understand. And I know what people would say. They would say, well, of course you don't understand because...
You can't because you're white.
Okay. But I don't understand what...
They don't understand either because they weren't in
But
that
I don't
situation.
understand what being angry at me today does. It doesn't go back and erase
Well,
it.
so-
It can't. Nothing can erase that.
The problem is that there has been... And I'm not making this up. This isn't politicized. These are facts that have happened. There has been this, and I think this started in the 60s. I want to say it was in the 60s, maybe early 70s. This narrative push where, what are you looking at? There, one of the dogs is behind the door.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
probably
it's
Charlie.
Charlie.
Where
Charlie's over there going, boo, motherfucker. Boo.
where politicians have pushed this victimhood narrative, because if you look at the generation of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, those types of civil rights leaders, they didn't want handouts from a motherfucker. They didn't know. All we want is to be equal. Cool. All for it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why their messages still resonate.
Everybody seems to have fucking forgotten that, though.
Right.
Because what did Martin Luther King say on his big I Have a Dream speech? Where a man is judged, man and woman, is judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. He was actually talking about his kids, but you know what I mean. And everybody seems to have, that's just gone out the fucking window.
Oh, there was the thing, and I can't remember the name of the parade, but it was, or what state it was in, but it was a Black Pride parade.
Recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, this month.
That were charging only white people admittance so they can keep it free for the black people.
Yeah, they were charging them a reparations fee.
Now, this would be all over the fucking news if it was the other way around.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say to that. Like, again, you will never... I would die before I'd say that awful things, because I've read in detail about these awful things, and they are... Awful doesn't even seem bad enough. You know, like heinous, reprehensible. The thought of being sold away from your family and having no voice to say anything about it. Mothers from children, husbands from wives.
No, they weren't the only ones.
No,
that
they
shit like
weren't.
that
But I
happened
mean,
to.
I would never downplay how huge and tragic. But again, it happened, like you said, like the Chinese people in America. Oh my God, they faced terrible.
Who built the majority of the railroad.
Oh yeah, they're the reason we made the westward expansion on literally on their backs.
Yeah, it was from the western side of the Rockies to the Pacific was all Chinese slave labor.
And like the Irish,
the Irish built all the roads in New York.
All the indentured slaves.
Yeah, they
came across
conveniently
from
forget that
Scotland,
shit.
and
they forget about indentured servitude that you could never fucking pay off.
Because every time you got the money, then suddenly there were more fees and fines.
Then your room and board tripled or whatever.
Yeah, I think the answer is not to keep pointing fingers. We all know what happened, and I think we all agree that it was awful, like beyond awful. I think.
Yeah, I've never once heard anybody say that it wasn't terrible. So
I heard some people say that, but they were just really, really dumb. Yeah, I mean,
they probably dead now, right? Or close to it. They got to be close to it.
No, I've seen young people say that it.
They're fucking idiots.
They're beyond moronic. But your average person understands that it was god fucking awful. So let's stop, giving it. I don't know how that doesn't sound right, because let's stop giving it the power to keep tainting
just
today.
It's just like the whole Janet Jackson thing. That was 20 fucking years ago.
Why are we yelling about
Let
him?
it go.
She seems to be doing
It's
good.
over.
Everybody's doing good.
Yeah.
I don't think she's hurting.
Yeah,
Her titty recovered. It's fine.
It was never hurt to begin with.
No.
We saw the pictures.
No, it looked nice.
Yeah, it was great.
I might have to examine it more just to make sure.
Ross wants to like.
I read a
Ross
thing
be like,
about
I got a Polaroid of that motherfucker somewhere.
her fashion designer. She actually told him that she wanted a nipple ring. They went over designs and they set on that one. And he only bought one.
Then there's a reason. And come on, I mean, that was not.
But then she just stands there like,
Yeah, right. That's not like a simple nipple piercing. Like if you got this big blazing sun on your areola,
the Godsmack sun.
yeah, like because let me tell you, my titty flops out. First thing I'm gonna do is, you know, and she's just like, "That's right, bitches."
I'm like, oh.
Yeah, okay, but to be fair, that's a titty that the whole world had wanted to see since she was 18 years old.
Right,
I
but
wouldn't say the whole world. But
yeah,
okay.
because I didn't want to see it. I mean,
Yes, you did.
no, I didn't. I
Yes,
mean,
you
it was
did.
okay. It was a nice looking titty, but
See, you wanted to see it.
no, I didn't know.
Okay.
You may not have known.
Like I didn't like I wasn't like, you know whose
Oh,
titty
okay.
I'd like to see?
Okay.
Janet Jackson.
How about this? Half the world
Okay.
wanted to see.
You know, I mean, just let shit go. Move forward. You know.
But what I was getting to was there has been this push since about the late 60s, early 70s that and if you look at it with this same push, you see an incredible spike in fatherless households in the black community, multiple children with different guys, that whole type of shit, and a skyrocket in the use of the welfare system. And it's been this whole victim mentality. Oh, your people were done wrong. You're a victim. We'll take care of you. And it hasn't worked out fucking ever.
There's just, I mean,
And in the
you can't find the people that weren't victimized. You can't. As a student of history, I defy find it. Find a people that were never victimized.
I can name you 12 families right now that weren't.
No, but
Ever in history?
bullshit.
Yeah, they're the ones that
The
do
Rothschild-
the victimizing.
No, like the Rothschilds.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they at one point in the 1800s literally controlled every piece of money in the world.
They do now too.
But they were victimized. They were Jews and they were pushed out of where they were. They were victimized too. Every people
They seem to have done pretty well.
well, right, because they
Fucked everyone else along the way.
okay, but they did their time in the dirt too. Everybody did. It's just like the way the world has always worked, you know. And that I thought the point was we were supposed to be growing better.
Yeah.
And,
you know what?
Stopping all that.
At the turn of the millennium, in 2000-ish, you know, like late 90s to early 2000s-ish, we were doing so well.
It could have just been
And-
our age. The only people I remember fighting were gangs.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of that back then. Oh.
Gangs,
Yeah,
rappers.
but they almost never strayed into civilian shit. It was always them fighting each other and fucking fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Who cares as long as you keep it between yourselves. You know?
I mean, at some point we've got to let go of the past. Don't forget it. Don't try to rewrite it because then that's how we repeat it.
Uh-huh.
But let it go. Take its power
Grow
away
from it.
and go, we will never let our society do
This
this
happen
again.
again. Yeah.
And we're going to learn from this. We're going to be better and we're going to grow and we're going to be bigger and like bigger hearts.
Don't bury it like it didn't
Yeah,
happen.
because
But
then you're just doomed to repeat
See,
it.
and that's what burns my ass about all these Confederate statues being taken down. It's like, oh, well, it hurts my fragile sensibilities. Good, I hope the motherfucking... I hope it does.
It should hurt
I
your
hope
feelings.
I hope it
Then
turns
you're
your
gonna
fucking
learn
stomach
from it.
every time you walk by it. Because then, you know, and it's right up here, what the fuck happened and that we can't let that happen
I
again.
mean-
And when they take the statue away and it's replaced
Nobody
by
has to think about
by
it.
some stupid-ass pop culture statue, nobody's ever gonna think about it.
Well,
and then when the shit starts happening again, because it will, because history, that shit goes in cycles 100% of the time.
Oh, yeah.
They're gonna be like, well, we never saw it coming. And all of us from our generation are gonna be like, you stupid fuck, we told you.
Well, it's just like, I mean, the fact that people can deny that the Holocaust happened.
That
my
seems
God.
Millions of people, and you're just going to go,
that seems to, you know what I will deny happened? I don't believe Hitler killed himself in his bunker.
oh, I don't think so either.
I'm 100% no.
I think he died in
Argentina.
South America.
I'm 99.8% sure, because there's always that margin of error.
Yeah.
That he died in, what was it? It was like
If you don't
2012
have
or
proof
something.
of his death,
Yeah, there was no body.
I mean,